What a win from the San Diego State Aztecs. They are moving on to the Sweet 16. We'll find out who their opponent is later today. But you talk about domination over Furman. That's exactly what happened. I mean, it felt like it was domination from the get go. And going into this game, they get the win against Charleston. And I kind of felt like, okay, they beat Charleston. And this is another team that I've never heard of. So I feel really good about this going in. Like, this is a great draw for San Diego State. They didn't have to face Virginia, but you're always hesitant. Like there's those games in the back of your head, like, well, they just beat Virginia. They could go beat San Diego State. San Diego State came into the tournament as a lower seed, right? The Virginia, I believe, was a 4. San Diego State was a 5. So it could happen. But I also had the thought more in the front of my head than the back of my head of that other thought that maybe they could get upset. I was really more thinking that Furman gave it all in their first game, and they weren't going to be able to out dominate San Diego State. And San Diego State was the one that dominated in this game. I mean, we can start with Gregor Rope, and we can start with the just athleticism, the defense, the blocks, but I got to give it to Micah Parrish. I mean, holy cow. In that first half, I know his second half was not as great, but first half, felt like he was making every shot that he was taking. And this guy did not start the game, right? He ends up scoring 14 points in the first half. The Aztecs had a 14-point lead at halftime. Furman went on a huge scoring drought. I think it was over 7 minutes. And San Diego State went on a huge run during that scoring drought. And that was obviously big for them building that lead. But Micah Parrish with those threes, and you go back to the Charleston game, him hitting a big three there and grabbing a big rebound, in that game. And then coming up huge in that first half, really setting the tone and putting Furman behind, like from the get-go. San Diego State, yeah, were they behind at one point during the first half, like during the first half of the first half? Yeah. But they went on a huge run while Furman was in that scoring drought. 6 blocks in total in this game, 4 players in double digits scoring-wise. Trammell, Butler, Bradley, and Parrish. Trammell, who had struggled these last couple games, if I remember correctly. Struggled a little bit shooting. He came out, ended up finishing with 13 points on the day. Lamont Butler, 12 points. And when you talk about dominance, I mean, the Keyshot no-look pass, Butler with the dunk, right? With the athleticism, so many dunks, so many blocks. It was just dominance. Bradley, 10 points. And then off the bench, Micah Parrish, 6 for 12, hit 2 3-pointers, 5 defensive rebounds, 6 rebounds in total, 16 points. And like they were saying on the broadcast on CBS, it was like line changes. In hockey where there's line changes, where all of the starters pretty much come out and then the bench comes in, like that's what you were seeing. And then vice versa when the starters came back in the game. That's how much depth San Diego State has. So like I said earlier, I thought San Diego State was going to win this game. Did I expect them to win by 23 points, I think? Their largest margin of victory in school history. I'm guessing that's NCAA tournament history for San Diego State, not just school history. Maybe school history, but I saw that on the graphic on CBS, that largest margin of victory. I'm guessing that's tournament history, at least. Definitely tournament history. But, I mean, credit to the coaching staff, obviously, with the great game plan. Not just Dutch, right? You got to give credit to Dutch, but to the coaching staff as a whole. They were talking about on the broadcast how Brian Dutcher does a great job of just allowing Velasquez, the defensive coach, right? That's his real big specialty, right, in the coaching staff. Chris Acker, letting the coaches do their jobs as well, not just taking over everything. So really a credit to the whole coaching staff. On to the Sweet 16, getting past Charleston. That was like the huge key for the Aztecs, right? Charleston was kind of like San Diego State. It was going to be a close game. With Furman, it was another team I'd never heard of in my life. Where are they? South Carolina, somewhere in South Carolina. I felt confident that they were going to beat Furman because they were able to beat Charleston. And again, like I said earlier, I kind of had that thought like, okay, Furman, they exhausted everything against Virginia. And by the way, People are saying, "Oh, they played a great game against Virginia," and yeah, they did to be in that game, but they should not have beaten Virginia. Their point guard, Clark, made a stupid play. Instead of calling timeout, just chucks it up in the air, and Furman gets the ball, pass, 3, and they end up winning the game, right? They should not have won that game, in my opinion. So they shouldn't even been in this round with San Diego State. And San Diego State, it was like they were a NBA team playing a college team, just or a college team playing a high school team, or like Gonzaga or another team like that going and playing some like D3 school. Like that's what it looked like on the court today. So complete domination, amazing job from the Aztecs on defense. I mean, the Europe first half, the Europe the block, and then in transition, Parrish hitting the little fadeaway there. Johnson had the alley-oop dunk early in the game. Mensah had a huge block. Just physical. Huge game for the Aztecs. Just domination. And then a rope in the second half. I don't know if you guys saw this play, but go look it up. It's probably somewhere on social media. I think I tweeted it out at BenFaddenSD, my personal social. All my thoughts that aren't Padres are on that Twitter account. But that a rope rock that he had in the second half. I mean, guy was going up for a dunk and just totally blocked the crap out of that ball. And whenever Furman tried to get an open shot, San Diego State was like, no, not happening. Late in the second half, they were up by like 20 points and Parrish blocked a 3. They never stopped. They kept that foot on the pedal. They kept it on it. And they dominated Furman, like I've said for probably like 10 times here in these like 7 minutes that I've been talking. So what a win. Sweet 16 coming up in Louisville. I don't know when that game is, but wow. Look, I know that some San Diego State haters might say, well, look at the draw they had, Charleston and Furman. But guess what matters this time of year? Did they win the game, right? Dutch did not have a NCAA tournament win as the head coach. He doesn't have just one, he has 2. And yeah, were these easier draws than some other schools? Yeah. Does San Diego State control that? No. They had a really good regular season, 24-6, right? And then they were 27-6 after the Mountain West tournament. Now they're what, 29-6? An incredible year. And it's harder to get into the tournament as the conference champion than it is to get in after the tournament. And they did both of those things. And they dominated this round of 32 games. So you can only look at the games that they have played in the tournament. And there's encouraging things coming from both of those games. I know it wasn't the best game the first game, but this second game, what a time to have their best game of the season. By the way, on big CBS, right? I think it was like the only game on in the country. And the Pac-12 expansion thing's going on right now, right? With the TV deal and San Diego State in talks to maybe go to the Pac-12. It's a great time to be in the Sweet 16. What a day. And then later today, 1 o'clock, Tatis, Bogart, Soto, Manny, all in the same lineup. All at the same time. I'll be back talking Friars episode 365 later tonight, live stream here on YouTube. See ya.